Welcome back to another episode of Walk in My World. Today's episode is Everyone Has a Gift. Now, why has a gift is because at the Young Adults program, we strive to be independent as possible. So when mom and dad or our caregiver are no longer here, we can achieve some of our goals on our own. And this wouldn't be possible without the great team that we have at the Young Adults program to help us achieve that every day. Now, here is the current episode. Everyone has a gift. Hope you enjoy it. When Young Adults was created, it began as a pilot project from a summer program. The fact is that we were coming out of summer program and in September had nowhere to go because we were reaching the age of 21.
Basically, young adults program. Back in 1998, I was hired on through KSCS. Basically, it was a new position, and it was to work specifically with people with developmental delays. And so I did a lot of consultation with the families back then. Meeting with the individuals as well as their family members, and became apparent that that whole generation that originally started step by step and moved on. Now they were in high school, and they were basically at the age of 21 where they were going to be leaving school, and there was nothing really for them to do. In the meantime, I did my research. I went on the outside. I checked SRSO, which is located in Chattagee. We had a couple of community members that were already attending the program there. Unfortunately, I was told that the waiting list is almost 2 years, and the only time that someone can actually put their application in was in their last semester of school. So basically, that would have meant a 2 year period where people would be waiting at home doing nothing. And it would have been very unfortunate. I worked very closely with the families. We had the advocacy group. We met often, and I says, well, what do we want to look at having for our community members? And they says it would be nice if we could have something here on reserve as opposed to having to send them off reserve. So I guess one of the things is we had to look at, of course, financial shortages. We didn't have very much. At the time, the advocacy group was running a summer program for these community members, and so it was meeting that need, but it was only for a short period of time. We had to look at something that's going to cover off all the year round. And I guess one of the things that we also want to make sure that it was programming that is based on getting them integrated in the community. And that's why it's very important. It's not called Young Adults Center, it's called Young Adults Program, because the center is where they meet, and the intent is that they're supposed to be out in the community. So I guess the thing we looked at is we needed to find a place where we can operate the program. So one of the things we were lucky is the Legion Hall offered to use their center. Basically, it's a downstairs kitchen and area, and that allowed us to operate the program for 3 days a week. Basically, it was good because at least now we have a home base, and like I said, they offered it free of charge. So my hat goes off to the Legion. Meeting one of our first groups to step up and meet the needs of our community members. So it operated well. I mean, we were fortunate. We were able to train and have some good staff that were the initial people running the program. and I'm proud to say that there's still some of the people that were there working in the Legion that are still working with the Young Adults program. That shows a lot of the commitment that they have, and also the fact that you know they enjoy what they're doing. So there was also a period of time where when the Turtle Bay Elders Lodge was constructed in 1999, that uh, that summer the Young Adults program also operated out of here. As you can see, it was always hard to find a home base. Of course, what happened is when the lodge was built, we had a low occupancy rate at first, so there was the provision to actually have them come here and utilize some of the common areas. So that worked out well. I mean, more than welcome here. It was good because of the fact that home and community care was all under the same umbrella as the Elders Lodge, so it was no problem. But I guess one of the things that we still said, we still needed to look at finding basically a place where they can operate, and that's where we were fortunate to come upon the late Lionel Mayo. His house was available, and that we basically relocated there a couple of years later. We also had, while at Lionel Mayo's, we had the fire brigade come in and do a fire inspection, but also determine what's the occupancy capacity of the building. And we were informed that we were basically exceeding it for a structure of that size and the number of participants in that building at one time. We were exceeding it, so it was an issue. So we had to look at finding an alternative. And at the time, we looked at, again, KSCS, what resources we had, and we were fortunate to have utilization of the White House. And it worked out well because the Young Adults program, as everybody's aware, it operates during the day, and then the Our Gain and Mad Group are afternoon programs. So, we had to work in collaboration with the other programs, but it worked out well to get use of that facility until we were able to build a new facility for them. We needed to look at finding a place where we can actually have a home base to offer the programming. So at the time, Kim Martin was working for KSCS, and she was able to get confirmation that the Legion had offered to use their downstairs facilities, which included the kitchen, the big common room. And we're very thankful that they're one of the first community organizations or social club that came forth to offer this support of our program. The thing is, they offered it free of charge, so our gratitude goes out to the Legion and all its members. So that really helped sort of start this thing on its path. I guess what had happened is, like I said, they were at Lionel Mayo's house for a number of years. The problem is it was a home. We tried as much as possible to adapt it to make it handicap accessible. Of course, like anything else, there's always shortcomings. So in the meantime, I started looking at saying, let's start putting some capital aside, and that was done through Independent Living Services. And let's start looking at the possibility of building a brand new building that basically will be brand new, handicap accessible, and fully accommodate our needs. We were lucky in the fact that KSCS did have, I guess, a parcel of land that was dedicated for projects, and at the same time, the Independent Living Center was looking at being built. So we basically says, well, let's attach the Young Adults program to that same center, and today that's the current center that's there. When we went to build the center, we basically looked at saying, okay, let's get all the families again, all the people who participate, and let's see, we have only so much square footage, but let's see how well it'll work. We had the staff included, we did some consultation, and I think it worked out well because there was some recommendations that came from participants, from parents, from the staff, and we're able to incorporate them to this day. I realize that it's still a small building. It could be bigger, but at the time we only had so much limited financial resources. And the thing is, at least it'll be a center that's their own.
Within assisted living services, there is the young adults program. That's one component. And what the young adults program is a day program that primarily runs Monday to Friday, 9 till 4. But I only say primarily because that is only a portion of the time. In actual fact, the young adults program will operate on weekends, operates on evenings, operates overnight. It's all based and centered around the needs and the priorities of the participants in the program. So within there, young adults services essentially 18 and over. Why the age breakdown 18 and over is usually before that age, most of our clients are in school. They're in schools full time, so this is a program run during the day so that there's something meaningful and mindful that, our community members can participate in.
Well, the staff arrive at 8 o'clock. They prepare the day from 8 till 9. The participants arrive between 9, 9:30 and 10. And around 10 o'clock, we read the paper, we do the horoscopes, and we do Dear Anne. And a lot of times we do Dear Anne, we have debates about Dear Anne. We also do newsletters every Tuesday. And on Tuesdays, each one of the participants will be the editor, and one of the staff will help them with the newsletter, and the participants is the editor, and they do pick out the pictures, and they do the quotes, and they do the sayings in the newsletters. And we also do yoga, and which is really relaxing, and we do the best we can, and we have fun with it. And that's very healthy for you. And a lot of it is breathing exercises, and the ones who can't use maybe their legs, they use the upper part of their body, and they use their breathing, and it's very relaxing.
What happens when someone joins the young adults program is we try very much to meet the needs of the individual, their talents, their interests, their abilities, and programs are designed around that. And it is a challenge because there's, some of the participants are very talented, they're very vocal, they're very engaged. And then we have some that have, a different degree of special needs. So we have different streams, and the challenge is to present a program that can meet both ends of the spectrum. The staff is always challenged, the caseworkers and staff, in planning activities that interest them and are rewarding for them. And essentially what they do is they have meetings, they meet with the clients, they meet with staff, and then they look at programming, and they do the program development, up to 3 months ahead, so by quarter. And they develop monthly calendars so that families and the participants themselves know for the month all the activities that are going to be available and provided. So some of the activities they're all supposed to be fun, enjoyable, informative, but there's also an element that it helps build on the skills that the participants already have. When I first came up here, everybody had their own little Christmas party. And I said, what are you guys doing? Why are there so many little tiny... And they said, I don't know. Well, that's what we do. And I said, our whole reason for coming in Monday is to work with the community and try to get us less isolated. We don't want these populations isolated. But we're doing it in here. Are you kidding? So I said, can we try this year? Let's have a joint party. And even some staff went, I don't think that'll work. And I went, let's try it. Doesn't work, we know, right? We did it. They had so much fun, and we've been building on it ever since. So this year's Christmas party, actually, there was so much planning and preparation that went into it, and we had changed the location, and everyone decided on the theme for the meal. We had Italian, and everybody's excited, and we had good response. And of all days, it was the snowstorm of the winter. And we were so sure now we were going to be there by ourselves, sitting at the tables looking at each other with no one there. And I was amazed how many people started walking in. At the end of the night, we had 145 people came in the killer snowstorm, toughed out the weather, and came for the Christmas party. It was we had such a good time. Families, kids, extended families. The food was good. The entertainment was great. We played games. People danced. And everyone, despite the weather, stayed right to the end. I was expecting maybe everybody would come, eat, and leave. And I would have understood because it was so stormy out. But that wasn't the case. Nobody left. And the party went on as planned, as if it was a spring day. Everybody had a good time. We're going into our 4th annual variety show, and that has been such an eye-opener, I think, for us, families, but the participants themselves. I think they're amazed at what they're capable of themselves. So every year now we have a musical variety show. There's a theme, and they work on it all winter during this dreary period, and then there's a 2-night performance. And I think what's so important for me is the first year, it was a great success. Everyone enjoyed it. It was parents, families. The second year was standing room only. Standing room only, and I saw so many people in the audience that weren't related to any of our clients, that weren't family. They just came. To me, that was a huge success, and it was so rewarding for them. And the variety show is made up of the participants and staff, and everybody gets out and has a good time. But we've realized the power of music and how talented and rewarding it is for them. So that's something that they're already starting to work on for the spring.
That a lot of the groups admired us for outside the community. We went to Niagara Falls, we had been to Lake George, we had been to Ottawa, and we had done things that maybe some of our clients would have never had gotten the chance to.
Without giving names, we had people working at the Eastern Door, KSCS, Sailors Meat Market, and what it is they were able to start off with, I guess you would call a job coach, someone who they would Zakta had covered their salary, and it was to help them get integrated into the workforce. And what they did is they originally started, they bring them in there and they get them acclimated to the work environment. And as time went on, they slowly pulled out to hook with the intent that the individual would be able to be very independent working in that work environment. So the original intent behind the fun fair was not to really raise funds. It was to bring attention, to let people know that the Young Adults Program is a new program in the community, and that it brought people, that's a way to get people interested in it. And it does, it is a big fundraiser for the Young Adults Program because it helps offset a lot of the costs that are not funded. So it does serve two purposes, but I think it's also very important the fact that it's become an established thing that every year they have the fun fair, and it's well attended. We're lucky to get a lot of volunteers, and I think it's something that really has worked out well. So yeah, the original intent was just to bring awareness as to the fact that we have the Young Adults Program, and at the time it was called One Step Closer, but the title, why it's the Young Adults Program, is we brought it to all the participants in the program, and we says, okay, we need to have an official title of what's the program going to be called. And Jeffrey White was the one who came up with the term Young Adults Program. So it's good because it came from somebody who's in the program, and it really hit home because it was nice because it didn't say a disability program, a handicap program, something, to stigmatize it. It was basically young adults, and that's what they are. They were all young adults, and they were basically moving on to the next generation in their life.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Walk in My World. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.